Hi everyone, welcome back to Talking Balls. Sorry I've been away for a week in between this. To be honest, I just had a bit of fatigue with the World Cup, which reminds me, I will be talking about the final today and probably the team of the World Cup as well. But that will be it for the World Cup because like I said, it's been a full month plus, and that's really all we've been able to speak about. So yeah, this will be the last episode talking about the World Cup. Well, before I get to that. I do want to talk about events from over the weekend, which don't relate to football, but as I'll get to that. As always, guys, give us a like and follow here on Spotify and a like and subscribe on YouTube. I'll include all the links in the show notes. As always, if you want to get in touch or if you've got something to say, leave a comment. I'm always happy to respond to comments, primarily because there's not that many anyway, but I want to engage. I want to hear your views, and who knows? Like it might be ideas for future episodes, or I might bring you on here to discuss them in person. So please always leave a like, comment. If you want to send an email directly to me, again, it's dirtyan@gmail.com. That's DARETOYAN at gmail.com. Sorry, I don't know why I do it. I do this every episode, and I almost forget how to spell it. But yeah, events over the weekend. LeBron James is taking his talents to Philadelphia. 2 years, $8 million deal with the 76ers. My initial reaction, first off, I mean, I covered it in, I want to say episode three, four. Um, Initial reaction, like, it's a great deal for both sides for basketball reasons. I mean, LeBron's going there. He's going to have Tyrese Maxey, a scorer and a fantastic player in transition. He's going to have VJ Edgecombe, a rookie, now going to be a sophomore who he can teach more about basketball, who's already shown a lot of talent, a lot of promise. Jaylen Brown, talk about that trade in a minute. And of course, Joel Embiid, a two-time MVP. Coming off the bench, you've got Anthony Simons as well, who's a fantastic scorer, especially from the bench. Dean Wade providing spacing three and basically a 3 and D guy. And I've just seen this morning that 76ers are signing Kentavious Caldwell Pope, LeBron's former teammate from when they won the title with the Lakers in 2020. Um, to a 1 year, $3.9 million contract. So that's another 3 and D guy. So suddenly the roster's filling out and it's looking hell of it's looking like a team that's going they're suddenly favorites for the title. Let's put it that way. I mean, I think they still need a backup center and if possible another guard. Uh, well, not starting, but someone's come up from the bench just to ease the burden. But in that lineup alone, you've already got enough playmaking with Maxi, Braun, and Brown. You got shooting. Braun's all right. Brown's all right. Maxi's all right, I guess. Edgecombe's all right. Embiid's all right. Dean Wade is good. Caldwell Pope's good. Simons is good. Defense shouldn't be an issue in the post or on perimeter, especially once they get that backup big with Embiid's injury issues. So yeah, these guys are set. They look set for the next year or two. And actually, it goes beyond that because the experience from playing with LeBron, the biggest strike against Embiid's career so far is he hasn't played in conference finals. And I think having Braun there to help him get over that hump is going to be absolutely massive, especially going forward with Maxi still being really young. He's just started, I think he's just started on his second NBA contract. Edgecombe, like I said, is a sophomore, so he's got his entire career in front of him. Brown and Embiid in that prime, still got probably 3, 4 more years at the top, realistically speaking. So yeah, this is a really great move, and all facilitated by the incomparable Bob Myers of Golden State Warriors dynasty fame. I mean, that's the guy who built the dynasty for us, who got in Steve Kerr over Mark Jackson, he drafted Kevin Looney and the like after Stephen Cole. He was one instrumental in bringing Kevin Durant to the Bay Area. I mean, I was so upset when we lost him when he chose to leave, and this is just exacerbating those feelings again. I really can't. I'm actually borderline sad about it. But now to the main thing I want to talk about on this entire deal. This is where the Jaylen Brown for Paul George trade looks absolutely terrible because now the Celtics, for getting Paul George and two first round picks, have given up Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, and probably the title. I mean, to those who probably who may not follow basketball, I'll put this in. I'll try and put it in food terms, right? This is like you've got what's hot right now in food industry. God, this is what not being on social media or fooding me does to you. I don't know. This is like it's like trading. It's like you've got an Impossible Burger, right? It used to be good. It's kind of faded. It's not that good anymore. And someone and you're offering that Impossible Burger with some fries to anyone who could take it, just to take it off your hands. And someone comes in with a Big Mac and says, "Give me two loads of fries," and you got a deal. And so, in exchange for your Impossible Burger and two loads of fries, you get a full Big Mac. That's Paul George and those two first round picks for Jaylen Brown. That's how bad it is. Because here's the problem with analytics or looking at things strictly through an analytical view. Yes, Jaylen Brown's contract may have been undervalued. It might have been too much money for what would only be a second option on a title winning team. But the wider impact of that is you strengthened your direct rival, your conference rival, while simultaneously weakening yourself. And like I covered in that episode, how many weeks ago, um, you're not saving that much money. I mean, Jaylen Brown earns about $4 million a year more than Paul George. That isn't getting you much in terms of impacts players anyway. And to get rid of Paul George's contract, if you choose to do that, probably going to have to lose one of those first round picks in the first place. So in essence, you've traded someone who finished sixth in the MVP race this past season for one first round pick. That is bizarre beyond all measure, and it's just baffling, right? And not just that, like I said, you traded them to direct rival, but that Jaylen Brown trade made the 76ers a much more attractive team for LeBron. Suddenly, they entered the conversation of potential options for him, and from what I've seen, they were not in the running before the trade. This trade has literally put them in the running. So now you've got one of the greatest of all time. Call Michael Jordan 1A, LeBron 1B. You've put him on that title rival as well, along with your second best player. Actually, I'm saying second best. In that title run, Jaylen Brown was better than Jason Tatum. Like to me, he's a bigger. He's got more of the dog in him. Like he's the. I don't want to say Mamba mentality, but when it comes to it, he shows up more often than Jason Tatum does. In my opinion. So you've traded that guy to your title rivals, who've now also picked up one of the greatest of all time. And LeBron at this age, he's not going to be scoring 20, 25 a game. He's going to be probably putting up about 15 to 18 points a game. But what he brings is championship experience. And what he brings is a brain, an on-court and off-court brain that's almost unsurpassed in basketball. He's I won't be surprised if he's putting up numbers like 16 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists a game or something. He's going to turn into a facilitator and just like a connector for the rest of the team, and he's going to elevate every single person on that team as a result. And that's because of the Jaylen Brown trade. Of course, you got guys like Caldwell Pope coming on now. You're going to have a few more role players coming in, trying to get that ring, all because you give that Jaylen Brown contract up because it was undervalued. That's how bad a trade it's been. But fair play to the 76ers, Bob Myers, Josh Harris, the rest of that group and team. They capitalized on what everyone can see has been a fatal error by the Celtics. And in all likelihood, it's going to be them versus the Knicks in Eastern Conference Finals. Probably have Spurs versus OKC in Western Conference, and then those teams battle out to see who wins the title overall. But it's a great trade. Yeah, So that's the non-World Cup aspect of this episode done. Now to the World Cup. I'm not gonna. I did consider coming on after the England, Argentina, and France Spain games, but I don't know. I just was, when you're in that state of mind, it's like you want to talk, but it's also like everyone's talking about this, and at this point, I just want it over with. So yeah, I'll talk about the Spain Argentina game, or rather the um, Spain final, because Argentina might as well not have shown up. They looked that 120 minutes of Argentina playing looked like England versus Argentina when we went up 1-0 and went to a six at the back. That's exactly. Argentina didn't come to play football. And the conduct of the players is. I spoke about Paraguayan players and disgraceful conduct already. That was a few weeks ago. And the behavior against the French team in the quarterfinals, or round of 16. Argentinians, for some reason, decided to follow that playbook of the Paraguayans, and the scenes were ugly. Honestly, Enzo Fernandez getting sent off in the World Cup final, shameful enough as it is. Leandro Paredes came on at halftime and could have been sent off 4 different times by the end of 120 minutes. That's how bad they were. And of course, he started throwing punches after the game. Nahuel Molina as well. Like, if if there were a different FIFA president, I genuinely would expect at least 2 to 3 worldwide football suspensions for those guys. But with the corruption this guy has shown, of course, Javier Miller's come out defending as always. Of course, that's the Trump ally brand. Who knows? It's only 1 or 2 phone calls away from Infantino. Punishment, no, there may not be punishment, or it may be a slap on the wrist, really. But skip them aside. Spain were absolutely fantastic. They bossed that game start to finish. I know people would say it was a bit of a boring watch. They didn't create too many chances, but you're in a World Cup final and the other team's playing defensively or just focused on shutting you out. You might say, yes, they've had the entire ball, but the quality of opposition that is just focused on shutting you out, you've got to recognize that is a significant impediment or a significant obstacle to you. It became the I won't say the immovable object, blah blah blah, because they considered a lot in the build-up, but it was clear Argentina's focus in that game was not conceding a goal. I mean, they didn't have a shot on target till the 117th minute. They didn't have a shot, I'm pretty sure, until God knows when. Oh no, they didn't have a yeah, Either way, they set out to defend, and Spain just had to keep pressing, keep probing, keep looking for a way through. Could have won it in 90 minutes with who was it? Was it Nico Williams? Bit of a soft foul for Marino, but it was a foul. You got to be consistent with that kind of thing, because that did get given in the Argentina Egypt game, or did get called back in the Argentina Egypt game for that same offense. So you kind of want that consistency. Otherwise, Spain really just, they took them apart. They controlled that game, and he wasn't actually on my mind as player of the tournament before this. I had Mbappe, Messi, and Bellingham as the 3 guys, but Rodri, the way he controlled that game, and thinking back the way, like the France game, the term midfield general, I think, tends to get thrown around a bit too much, but that is exactly who this guy is. I mean, he's dropping deep, forming a back three to pick the ball up in possession, to pick the ball up his centre backs. He's progressing it through midfield. He's controlling things. He's always, and the most underrated skill, I think, is the fact that he's always available, no matter what, no matter where the ball is, right wing, left wing, centre back, right, left back, keeper. He's somehow always in space and always available for the ball to pick it up and to progress and move it forward and to keep Spain moving forward as well. He knows when to slow the tempo down. He knows when to speed it up. He knows when to play the direct pass. He knows when to keep it played short. It is an underrated skill, and I can't actually begrudge him winning player of the tournament golden ball. I don't know who won man of match, but that's beside the point. I mean, now he's completed all the awards he can. He's completed football, and that he's won all the team and individual awards he could win. He's got Euros, he's got World Cup, he's got Champions League, Premier League, he's got La Liga, he's got FA Cup, he's got Carabao, he's won Ballon d'Or, he's won Player Tournament. Well, to be fair, has he won? Okay, he hasn't yet completed it because he's not yet won Player of the Season for Premier League. But I'm sure if he did that, that would be then. If he did that, that would just be the final notch in his arrow. Um, might be getting that term wrong, but yeah. Onto the Simon tournament. Unai Simon was brilliant. I mean, 6 clean sheets in seven is absolutely fantastic. But he, like I said, with the Argentina game, for example, I don't think he got tested enough times with Argentina just holding back until 117th minute and with how they suffocated France. I don't think he got tested enough times throughout the World Cup. He conceded once, yeah, but I don't think he faced up to 10 shots on target at all. That's like throughout for the totality of the tournament. So I'm gonna have to give it to Virginia. I mean, we love a good underdog story. Cape Verde showed that they got that hero's welcome, and this guy at 40, incredible. I mean, we spoke about that game, that Spain versus Cape Verde game to open in that first group stage game, and my word. I mean, even against Argentina, it came up big again. He made some important saves. They ended up going up, but this guy, like, he's got a new club in Chile as well, based off the back of his tournament. Again, he's 40, so his options weren't going to be that great anyway. But big ups to the guy, man. Like he's got himself, and I think he's also on the FIFA official tournament exercise. So like that's a huge achievement. Go like for anyone, let alone a 40-year-old in your country's first World Cup appearance ever. So big ups to the guy. Onto defense, left back Kukurea has been fantastic all tournament long. Like this one, I can't think of anyone else who comes close. He's had it locked down all through for Spain. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's always shown up for Spain. And to be fair, even Chelsea, like they weren't greatest, but he always looks good or decent at least with them. He's been absolutely fantastic, Morden up and down the left wing, defensively as well, especially at France. I keep referring to the France game just because everyone, including myself, were looking at France. But the Spanish performance in that game was beyond legendary because they suffocated France to the effect that I genuinely can't remember one good chance France created. That's how manhandled they were. Kukurea, fantastic, both sides of the ball again. And of course, in possession, he's great on the ball. Did he score? I don't know if he scored this World Cup. He may have got an assist or two, but yeah, he deserves the place. He's been absolutely brilliant. Can't begrudge him that. Who else? I had some other people. Centre back. This one was tough because I wanted to give it to Laporte and Kubasi for their work with Spain, but I have to give it to Kubasi. I was torn between like because I'm only picking one because the other centre back position I feel is locked down. I'll come to him later. Kubasi primarily because he's 19. Like we've been talking about, I know a lot of people have spoken about Yamal and how young he is and how good he is. People forget Kubasi is 19, is the same age, or maybe he's the same age. Like I don't know how Barcelona do it, where they produce these two guys, Pedri, Gavi, Fermin Lopez, all in Spanish squad, all 22 and below. Like, it makes no sense. It's just same academy. But this guy's nice. And I think it's a bit easier for a youngster to shine on the wings, where you can just be free and brave than to be at centre back, especially playing in a high line. You've got to know when to step up. You got to know when to drop deep. You've got to hold your nerve and know when, and just hold your nerve and keep the offside trap going. And of course, I think he was top five for completed passes as well. And I think he had the best passing accuracy of people over 300 passes in the entire World Cup, which again, in 19-year-olds do these things is unheard of. Like, we talk about Rodri controlling the game, but this guy is so neat, he's so tidy in possession, just keeps makes the right pass time and again, keeps things ticking along nicely. It is incredibly rare to get a player like this, especially at this age. So for that reason, I'm putting him ahead of Laporte, who was also absolutely fantastic, but he's got a lot more experience. And just for the fact that Kubasi hasn't got that much experience and he's still in this battle, I've got to give him that edge for that reason. His youth for that reason. Second guy on second centre back, Upamecano has been. I've always described Upamecano as, how do I put it? I don't want to say maverick, but he blows hot and cold. Like when he's on it, he is on it. World beater, world beating, world class defender, one of the best around. But when he's off it, he almost has a bit of an arrogance to him, where he's just a bit too casual on the ball or with his opponent with his marker or marquee, he's he's up and down. But this World Cup, he's been up all the way, and no game emphasized that more than when he came on at halftime, France versus England third place playoff. Because I'm pretty sure he had did he have two assists in that game? But you could see he was aggressive, he was direct, he was on front foot, he was intercepting passes into the forward line, he was running off the ball. France tends to play high line and a man marking game, pushing everyone up. And time again throughout this tournament, Upamecano was the last guy sweeping, and his physicality, his speed, his pace, his aggression is always on show. He never backs down from the battle. He's always ready to go. And it is, and when he gets it right, like he did this World Cup, it is stunning to watch. So for that reason, he's my second centre back. Right back is a bit of a tough one because Pedro Porro, World Cup winner, scored in semi-final win against France and earlier in tournament. Again, brilliant, blah, blah, blah. I've got to go hometown bias. Oh, sorry, home country bias here. Or not home country, yeah, not host country, home country bias. Because Jet Spence was a revelation this World Cup. I mean, everyone, we've all known how fast he is, how defensively solid he is, but I think there was a lot of fear at him being included in the World Cup squad over the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Lewis Hall. I'm missing a few more names, aren't I? Luke Shaw and one or two others. I can't remember them. Um, but Jet Spence, defensively, absolutely phenomenal. That Argentina game, that tackle on, was it Julian Alvarez? Absolutely, tackle of the tournament. Absolutely brilliant. And then, which game again was it? Norway, where he had that late run and could have won a penalty, but let's be honest, it wasn't a penalty. It was overturned. And then, of course, in the third place playoff against France as well, with his where he did make that long busting run later and did win a penalty, which Saka converted for his hat trick. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't know where he got the lungs from because he was all over the pitch throughout this entire World Cup for England. From start to finish of games, he was just running, making tackles in the right place at the right time, consistently following his man. He's been absolutely brilliant. So for that reason, I've got to give it off to him over Pedro Porro. Midfield, I'm going to go with by the way, I'm going with like a 4-4-2 kind of thing. Midfield, start with the two in the middle. Rodri is a given. I mean, there's the playoff tournament always has to be in the team of tournament, doesn't he? So um, he makes it in there. For me, he's partnered with Jude Bellingham. Ooh, sorry, don't wanna go. I'm gonna go. Sorry, I'm not gonna go for 4-4-2. I'm gonna go for. If I go for, oh, it's tough. Tell you what, I'm gonna just give this midfield of. I'm gonna go 4-2-3-1. Yeah, I'm gonna go 4-2-3-1 because Jude Bellingham, absolutely immense. I mean, he won that game for us against France, third place playoff. He came on, drove half the length of the pitch with the ball, had composure, hold off tacklers, didn't take it first time, held on to the ball while French defenders panicked around him and sealed the game. Before that, he went missing against Argentina, granted, but he single-handedly won us that game against Norway. He was absolutely fantastic. He carried his team when he needed to. When we were down in dumps, when we sat deep, he was tasked with picking up the ball and driving forward, winning fouls, and just getting us up the pitch consistently. So, yeah, I mean, ideally you want him further forward, but this is a hypothetical team, not a real team. So I'm putting him in the midfield too with Rodri. Absolutely fantastic tournament for him. Um, right wing. This one, oh, I'm not gonna lie, this is a bit tough for me. Michael Olise. I mean, he finished with how many assists did he have in the end? Um, like he had six, maybe seven assists. Yeah, he ended with seven, which absolutely. Again, it's a World Cup. You play 7 or 8 games, so 7 assists in that spell is absolutely fantastic. Especially in that French team where it's just talent loaded everywhere. He was really, really good on the ball. Coming off the season he had for Bayern, which I think was his career best season, where he was just absolutely incredible. He is. I'm pretty sure he is in the running for Ballon d'Or. Ballon d'Or. He's going to probably finish like top five, top six. Um, Absolutely brilliant tournament. His vision, his impact is just unbelievable. Was quiet in the game against Spain, but to be honest, so was every other French player. Um, and granted, in the England game, he probably could have scored a hat trick, but that would be harsh on him. Well, no, it won't be harsh on him because the player of this quality, he should have scored a hat trick. But that doesn't take away from what he did in the rest of the tournament. And he was instrumental in quite a few of the goals France scored against England anyway. So for that reason, yeah, he's on the right wing. Number 10 is the somehow still kicking it with the best of the best at 39 years old. The greatest of all time, Lionel Messi, who I don't even know how this guy does it anymore. Again, he in finals he was non-existent, but that's not his fault. That's just the game plan Argentina had, and obviously he suffered as a result. But people I've seen criticisms of him being included among players of the tournament because he kind of walks for most of the game and then only shows up in certain moments. But that's what separates the good from the great. You don't necessarily it depends. Look, with attacking players, there's a difference. With someone like Rodri in midfield, you want him to control the game throughout the game. You don't want him to have moments. You want him to just be consistent. With attackers, with the likes of Michael Olise, Messi, Yamal, and a few other names I'm going to bring up in this team of tournament, you just need them to show up when it matters most. And I mean, Messi showed up when it mattered most. And Cape Verde, he had what, a goal and an assist. Egypt, he had a goal, assist, played a hand in the third one. Oh, did he have a goal? Yeah, he had a goal. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Had a goal, assist, and then played a hand in the third one. In the third goal against England, he assisted both goals. Now, people might say, well, it's just cross. Some of these assists are crosses into the box, blah, blah, blah. But if you watch how he played, it wasn't just that simple. It was about knowing when to cross. And the cross for the winner against England, for Lautaro's header against England, is one of the greatest crosses you will ever see. And I say that not as an exaggeration, but the placement of that ball, it was almost like Lautaro's cross for Enzo Fernandez against Egypt. The way Messi placed that ball, Jordan Pickford couldn't do anything about it. Ashley Konsa couldn't do anything about it. Mark Gahey didn't. We had 6 defenders in the box, and the only person who could get to that ball, just because of quality on it, was Lautaro Martinez. I mean, even Pickford tried to. There was no one who was touching that ball, but Lautaro. That's how great a cross that was. Again, he went missing in finals, but that was more team game plan than him. So yeah, he's. I mean, he would probably be my third best player of the tournament. So he would finish. So yeah, my starting 10 in this team of tournament lineup. On the left wing, coming as no surprise, Kylian Mbappe. I mean, first player since Gerd Muller in the 70s to score 10 goals in a single World Cup tournament. He's now the all-time leading. By the way, I made that prediction that by 2030, 2034, Mbappe will be the leading World Cup goal scorer of all time. Um, I was wrong. I was 4 to 8 years too late. He is already the leading World Cup goal scorer of all time with his goals against England in the third place playoffs. So there you go. 10 goals first since Gerd Muller again to score more than 10 in a single World Cup, to score at least 10 in a single World Cup since 1970s. He finished with 10 goals. And by the way, he finished joint second with Messi and a few other players with 4 assists. So 10 goals, 4 assists, or 14 goal involvements in what, again, 7 or 8 games in a single World Cup, in 8 games in a single World Cup. I mean, just that is just fantastic, isn't it? Like, you can't really, those stats alone just paint the picture of how clinical this guy is and how deadly he is as well. Up top, this one might, this is a tough one. It might be a bit of a, some people might argue different, but Haaland versus Kane. It's Haaland versus Kane, the age-old battle. I'm going Haaland. Kane, fantastic early on in the tournament, but the last game, in my opinion, that he was really um, crucial or critical for England was against Congo. Because Mexico, granted, he scored, but he scored a penalty. Granted, I'll never discount that. But Bellingham scored a brace. He was the one who really carried us in that game. Um, Kane, that brace against Congo really turned. I mean, he won us the game literally. Took us from 1-0 down to winning 2-1. So I can't force him for that. But that's it, really. Um, as usual with him and England in tournaments, he starts off great and then he just tails off towards the end. And that's the exact opposite of what you need from your striker. You don't want them, or from your top players, you don't want them tailing off towards the end. We've mentioned Messi, we've mentioned Mbappe. Yes, Mbappe didn't score or assist in semi-final against Spain, but he turned up against England. Granted, they didn't win that game, but he turned up in the other games. Messi, again, didn't turn up in the final, but turned up every other game before that. We said playoff tournament. Rodri turned up in the final, turned up in the semi-final. You want your best players turning up when you need them. Deeper your run goes, that's when you really want them. And unfortunately, Kane didn't do that. Now, that being said, Haaland didn't turn up against England. In fact, he was substituted in extra time. But before that, he did turn up for the rest of the competition. I mean, don't forget, this is his first World Cup. He was great in the group stages, and then against Brazil, against five-time winners Brazil in the in the round of 16. I mean, out of nowhere, 2 goals, and he put them to bed. He sent them back home, sent them back to Rio for I don't whenever Converse is, and I don't know, but that's what you want. He sent them home really quickly. Again, he was kept quiet in the quarterfinals against England. Granted, I think that's also partially emotional because I might have mentioned this before, but Soloth was playing for England, to be fair. Um, so yeah, for that reason, I just think Haaland, just because he did turn up later in the competition than Kane did, is my striker for the team of tournament. And there you have it, folks. So to top it off, it is Wozniak goal, Jet Spencer right back, Paul Kubasi and Upamecano centre back, Makurea left back. Two midfielders is Jude Bellingham and Rodri. Attacking midfield three is Olise on the right, Messi in the middle, Mbappe on 10. Olise and Messi really would probably. I know it's a hypothetical lineup, but Olise and Messi probably just gonna switch around. Olise is probably going to come driving through the middle. Messi trying to find the open space vacated by Olise on the right side. And then Haaland up top, just feeding off anything coming into the box for him. So there you have it, folks. My team of tournament. What else is there? Like, player of the tournament, Rodri. I don't have an argument there. Best young player, Kubasi. No argument there. Golden Glove, Simon. Of course, he's like we've already confirmed that. Like 6 clean sheets in 7. I think Neres was 3 clean sheets, so that's gone. Golden Boot, Mbappe on 10, Messi on 8. No way, not even close. Like I think Bellingham, Kane on 7, but again, yeah, not close. Golden Ball, said Eric. Oh, yeah, I've said that. Rodri. I created something called Golden Platter. I don't know what that means. I know it's not a real thing, but that was just for fun, just because. I mean, you serve things on a platter, and Olise was serving the goals up on a platter. So give him that award, I guess. I don't know what the actual assist thing is called, but for best creator. So yeah, there you have it, folks. I'm done talking about the World Cup. From now on, it's going to be about other things. Could be Premier League's coming back soon. We'll soon have like something talking about all-time Premier League exercise. I'll try and get to guest on for that. Talk more about basketball, the NFL. I may talk about F1. Who knows? Granted, it is talking about, so I should keep to ball sports, but eh, we'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Once again, give us a like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment. It's been great to speak to you guys again. I'll speak to you next week.